welcome to the show, everybody. I'm Joe Concha, joined by my co-host and possible host of the Tony Awards next year. Just read about that. Forbes columnist Rick Unger. Also, she's one of Philadelphia's top attorneys and would have won Celebrity Apprentice next season if Donald Trump didn't bail on the whole show to not run for president. Heather Hansen, welcome once again. And finally, Newsmax contributor, editor of the Wisdom Daily, and president of the Mike Ditka fan club. I didn't know that.
There you go. Live and learn.
Rabbi Brad Hirschfeld of Chicago.
Of Chicago.
I had to guess on that. Chicago. It's time for the Daily Download. And one day after it was determined that, once again, Benjamin Netanyahu will be Prime Minister of Israel, NBC's Andrea Mitchell scores the first interview with Bibi. The big topic, his relationship with President Obama.
I think there's an unbreakable bond between Israel and the United States. The president said that. I've said that.
But what about between you and Barack Obama?
Well, I think that is reflected in the relationship between the president of the United States and the prime minister of Israel. We can have differences, but we have so many things that unite us, and we have a situation in the Middle East that is very dangerous and presents a common challenge to us.
Has he called you yet to congratulate you on your victory?
Secretary Kerry called me yesterday, and I'm sure I'll be speaking to President Obama soon.
Now, we should point out the president has congratulated the prime minister since that was taped this afternoon. Former White House Chief of Staff David Axelrod had this to say last night about the win.
There are troubling dimensions to this, and particularly the manner in which Netanyahu chose to run his campaign in the last few weeks. He mortgaged the future in order to win an election.
Can't get used to him without the mustache. It's odd. Anyway, maybe David Axelrod spoke too quickly. Bibi told Andrea Mitchell at NBC that he hasn't changed his position on a two-state solution.
I haven't changed my policy. I never retracted my speech in Bar-Ilan University 6 years ago, calling for a demilitarized Palestinian state that recognizes the Jewish state. What has changed is the reality. Abu Mazen, the Palestinian leader, refuses to recognize the Jewish state. He's made a pact with Hamas that calls for the destruction of the Jewish state. And every territory that is vacated today in the Middle East is taken up by Islamist forces. So
but they are saying
we want that to change so we can realize a vision of real sustained peace. And I don't want a one-state solution. I want a sustainable, peaceful two-state solution. But for that, circumstances have to change.
Oh, quite a difference a day makes. And two thoughts on this, Rick. One, does Benjamin Netanyahu own any other tie besides the color blue? Never seen him in anything else. I know it's the color of Israel, but man,
Loves
he's
that
sharp.
color.
I love it. Don't get me wrong.
You're absolutely right.
It's true. And two, you must have some thoughts as far as not for a two-state and for a two-state.
I don't think I've ever seen somebody back away from a campaign promise quite that quickly in my life. It was amazing. And a lot of the talk early today was about how the administration was kind of pulling back and saying, okay, you're going to be this way. We're not going to defend you at the Security Council anymore. We're not just going to veto everything when everybody else wants to get on your case because we've always been on your side. And that started a lot of trouble. But there's a reason for this. People have to realize that we have been working on a two-state solution in this country for how many, years and administrations. And for him to simply turn his back on that was very, very disturbing. More importantly, and I actually brought a graph, a chart we can put up, most Americans, and I don't mean most in terms of a majority, but you'll see the plurality very much believe in the two-state solution. And so basically what Bibi Netanyahu had said to all of us, we don't really care what you want. I'm not going to ever go for it. Well, today he has backed off on it. There's one more point, though, I do want to make, and it was something I was trying to get to last night, but we'll do it now. Everybody gets very concerned about this relationship between Netanyahu and Obama, but what we forget is that we've seen this movie before, and strangely enough, we saw it with Bibi Netanyahu. Let's put up that quote, which it was something that James Baker, when he was Secretary of State in the first George H.W., I guess here, I'll just read it from here, administration, there you go. As head of the State Department, this is from the Jerusalem Post, under President George H.W. Bush in 1990, Baker said that Netanyahu, then Deputy Foreign Minister, was barred from the State Department building after saying that American foreign policy in the Middle East was based on lies and distortions. I barred him, Baker said, that may not be widely known. At the very same time, the George H.W. Bush administration was making the same noises about not defending Israel in the Security Council. We've seen this before, folks. Don't get freaked out. Nothing's going to happen to the U.S.-Israeli relationship. But don't think that it's all Obama the Terrible doing this, because it happened very similarly in the past with the first Bush administration.
But Brad, has it happened to this degree? I don't remember, and it's a good example and good research, quite frankly, by Rick, but I don't remember it ever being this cold before between two major allies.
I don't know if it's happened to this degree, but I think also memory dulls our senses, right? Time dulls our senses. It wasn't so great then. The real lesson, though, is it was a bad idea when Baker did it, and it's a bad idea now. That's what's troubling. This administration doesn't understand. Playing it out this way doesn't even get them what they want, let alone what Bibi wants. So it's strategically foolish. The key in that graphic, Rick, is that people in this country, and I'm right there with them, and most Israelis, 75% of Israelis, want an Israeli state and a Palestinian state side by side. What Bibi's concerned about, I think he handled it badly, was that it wouldn't be side by side. And the other thing to remember is here that if 75-25 of Israelis want two states, it's the reverse. 75-25 of Palestinians now reject that idea.
But there was a time when they
did. There was a time they did it.
And
I think we still have to
ago.
pursue things. No partner is not an excuse. But to put some context on it, there is no partner on the other side who really embraces that idea.
Right. Explain this to me for a moment then. If 75% of Israelis want a two-state solution, then why would he promise on the eve of an election that there will be no two-state solution if you're only getting 25% support around that idea?
Was he moved about 5% that he needed to deliver the victory he got. Right? The majority, he knew where those votes were going, and within that 75%, the center-right was going to vote for him and didn't need him to say that. What he did is he needed to beat out the Zionist camp. He needed to beat out that Zionist union, and the way he did that was by playing to the far right and actually edged out this ultra right-wing religious nationalist party that ended up getting to nothing. So he did what he did. It was just dirty politics. Now he's walked it back.
Well, Heather, you get 10 whole seconds to weigh in on this.
Sorry,
Listen, it's okay, but I think it's a function of fear, and I think that there's reason for them to be afraid given what's going on with Iran, and I think that that's sort of where this is all coming from.
Wow, well said. She encapsulated that perfectly. In 8 seconds, I was counting. Anyway, coming up next, how do you like the sound of First Lady William Jefferson Clinton? The Hillary camp hopes you will. This is The Daily Wrap, and it's only on Newsmax TV. And welcome back to the Daily Wrap. As always, I'm joined by a man that is currently managing 15 NCAA March Madness pools. Good for him. It isn't illegal or anything.
That's so impressive. How many of these you can come up with?
Yes.
I don't know how you do it.
Thank you.
Hard.
Yes,
day.
I write these things myself, and that's Rick Unger. By the way, a little update if you want to come back at me for a moment. Underdogs in March Madness right now. We do give you breaking news here on the Daily Wrap. 10-0 against the spread. Underdogs are killing the favorites right now, and
UCLA wins.
UCLA wins.
Go
He
Bruins.
predicted it. Bracket busters are everywhere. Anyway, we're about 30 seconds left in the segment, so let me get to the meat of all this. Heather Hansen, of course, is here as well, along with the Rabbi Brad Hirschfield for the second night in a row. So, for the first time, I think, in presidential history, we will have a candidate running for First Lady in what is an extremely clever or not so clever move. A Hillary Clinton Political Action Committee launched a Bill for First Lady 2016.com. Am I on?
I am homesick.
Run, Hillary, run!
Run, Hillary, run!
Run, Hillary, run! Woo!
I'm traveling coast to coast.
Run, Hillary, run!
To cities.
Run, Hillary, run!
Run, Hillary, run! And college campuses.
Run, Hillary, run! Run, Hillary, run!
To build support for Hillary. And the enthusiasm is hashtag cray cray.
That is surreal. Forget what I had to look at. That was the worst Clinton imitation ever. It's like he's that hard to do. Anyway, in what was an extremely clever or not so clever move, depending on your perspective, a Hillary Clinton Political Action Committee launched a Bill for First Lady 2016.com website with the goal to get over 100,000 people to sign a petition urging the former First Lady to run for president, like she needs urging. The marketing is working to some degree. I mean, hey, it made the front page of the New York Post. Looking good. As Rick pointed out yesterday, Hillary is outpolling everyone, including every possible Republican challenger, and he is absolutely correct, but in an interesting Rasmussen poll that was released today, it finds 57% of Democrats won't commit to someone from the past, with 36% thinking their party needs someone new. 21% are undecided. Overall, over half, 54%, of likely voters believe Democrats should look for a fresh face in 2016. Heather Hansen, elect Bill Clinton for First Lady. Is this the strategy you would use if you were running that campaign?
No way. It's classless. It's ridiculous. It's a little bit sexist. I mean, you know, you wouldn't have Jeb Bush's wife running around in a bikini and saying, "Vote for my husband." I think that
They don't have a sense of humor.
Come on. But the thing is, I think that, you know, in some ways, Hillary is trying to go for a sense of humor. She spoke today at the American Camping Association, to the American Camping
We
Association.
have an American Camping Association?
Yes, and she spoke in Atlantic City and talked about how we have a fund deficit here in the United States, and all of us grown-ups need to go to camp and have a red house and a blue house, and we all get together and talk about things we can't agree upon. So I think she is trying to run as a more fun candidate, get a little lighter. Maybe that horrible ad is part of that. I don't know that it's effective, but I don't know that that's going to hurt her as much as some other
I
things.
think, Brad, in terms of fun and Hillary Clinton, she's synonymous with that the way Mitt Romney was synonymous with that.
They
It's
don't
gonna
go
feel
together.
So forced.
Right. And I think also right now she has a substance deficit, not a fun deficit. We haven't heard anything meaningful from her as a candidate in a while. And I think that that's a very serious issue. Look, this reminds me, do you remember when Bill ran, he said to the American, "You vote for me, you get her too."
That's a better imitation.
It's pretty bad too. and it didn't play well then. And I don't think this is going to play terribly well.
Over it.
No, and I think she's still going to do great as far as she'll go. But I don't think voters want to feel they're being sold a buy one, get one
Yes.
for the presidency.
Well,
and I think that's a real challenge here. I think she's going to have to decide, yes, she's the heir apparent, she's outpolling everyone, but at some point, people want to hear, what do you really stand for other than offering us another Clinton presidency?
I think, though, there are enough low-information voters out there that if they remember what Biden said, GM is alive and Bin Laden is dead. It was simple and it was very effective.
They're going to love that.
Now, with the Clintons, right, they could very easily just say, look, yes, Hillary's running, but really Bill is going to be very instrumental in the whole
Watching
thing.
over her.
And you get a roaring economy, you get peacetime. It's the 90s all over again without Ricky Martin. Boy, wouldn't I like to sign up for that.
But can we just give it up a little bit for some sense of humor in politics? I thought it was really funny. Can I point one thing out? Is it possible to put that Rasmussen poll back up? Because there's something you got to explain to me. I don't know. There it is. Took those top two lines. 50% of Democrats won't commit to someone from the past, but only 36 think the party needs a fresh face.
65% of the people know
How
that.
exactly does that work?
No, so I think how it
Wouldn't
works
be
is
on
it
the
has to
choices.
do with the incredible popularity that she has, given that no one can imagine
But
who
if-
that fresh face is.
but
right? So everyone is saying, I would love something different. Great, what would you like? I don't know.
There isn't one, but those two numbers just don't go together. So it just
Well,
struck me
I
as
think that is how they go together.
a weird
People
thing in the
sense
polling.
that they want something different.
But he's not there, or
outstrip
she's
the
not there.
offerings. They're
Right.
not there,
And that's
a real
exactly
problem,
right.
You have desire that can't be fulfilled
Well, it may not be a
because
problem.
who's on the menu.
May not be a problem, but it's,
Well, it's probably
but
good
this
for
is-
Hillary.
Right, this
It's
is
a
why
problem for
Hillary won't
American
get it.
politics, though.
It's a problem for Americans, I think. I think we need some new
Unless you
ideas
like
and
Hillary.
some new thoughts. But do they like Hillary? I don't think they know Hillary. I mean, we haven't heard what she stands for. I think you've even said that.
I have. We'll
so at
see,
this
but-
point, they need to. They like maybe the idea of
I
her.
just thought that was very odd that 57% say I won't support anybody from the past, which would include Hillary, but then only 36% say I'm only going to support a fresh face. Well, where's everybody else? I don't know.
You had the saying, I think it was a couple of nights ago, that you don't vote for the candidate you want to win, you vote against
I
the
don't
candidate
think.
you
I
don't
think
want to win.
that's how American elections go. I mean, basically, by the time we get through campaigns, we're so sick and tired of both of them that we vote for the least objectionable of the two. I don't see anything that's going to change that this time around.
I like what John Kasich had to say about that. It's been a whole week since I brought up a candidate that I
Right.
may or may not endorse for president. He says, look, I like Hillary. You know, he worked with Bill Clinton on the budget, the balanced budget agreement in the 1990s. He says, but I'm not going to run against Hillary. I'm going to tell people what I'm for. Right, because that's what people ultimately vote for. Because Mitt Romney learned that you can't just say, well, with President Obama, the economy isn't very good, and there's Obamacare, and that's going to send the economy into the crapper.
But you
and
do
all of that.
understand, if he were to actually run, and I actually, as time goes by, I'm understanding more and more why you feel the way you do about him. But do you really believe that John Kasich would get through a presidential campaign without running negative ads?
Obviously his campaign would,
Well,
but I
yeah.
think his tone itself would be a very positive one because he has a record to run on. Rick.
He
That's
does-
the
he
difference.
does, but
when you
he'll-
don't have a record to run on, you attack the
There's-
other guy or girl.
You're right, but they're still going to make him do it. And if you're running negative campaigns, it is him.
Well, the
running
media will
negative
drag it
campaigns.
into a negative.
I mean, there's
Yeah.
no choice, but you can be a little bit above it, or you can get right down in the dirt and
See,
be
I
all
would
in.
actually vote for a candidate, even if I'd vote for Kasich if he really went through the entire campaign, never ran a negative ad, never attacked. I'd say I'm voting for this guy. That's the
Even-
character.
Oh, is that all he has
It'll
to
never
do?
be
That's all he
zero.
has to do.
It'll never be zero, but you don't have to be defined by the negativity.
Well,
And
That's
we
the
have to
difference.
And yet they
there.
all are. So, you know.
Coming up next, should Americans be forced to vote? We have your answer. This is the Daily Wrap, only on Newsmax TV.